Tucker Carlson of Fox News often tries to present himself as the reasonable host on Fox News. You know, he's a more reasonable conservative who will throw populists a bone once in a while. So what he tries to do is, rather than just outright denying climate change, he has to put forward these phony, frankly nonsensical arguments to discredit people who are talking about climate change the most. And he's trying to promote this idea that if you drive a car, if you ride in airplanes, and if you essentially consume in any way, shape, or form that contributes to greenhouse gases being emitted more so than what is natural, then you are clearly a hypocrite. That's the argument that he's making, but thankfully, someone on his program actually called him on his bullshit, and you're gonna watch Tucker Carlson faceplant here, and it's going to be glorious.
Of course, he should spend the last few days of a campaign doing everything he can to fight for a Green New Deal.
You should reduce your own emissions. No, it's really simple.
So
you
he should walk
reduce
to work.
your own emissions.
Should he walk from Vermont to DC?
Yes, yes.
Should he walk from Vermont to DC?
Live by the
You just said yes. You just said yes. You should walk from Vermont to DC. That shows the BS argument that you just described.
Okay.
Taking
you know
a car,
what you're doing? You are making excuses because all you want is power. You're exactly the kind of person who would.
Tucker, I've seen you make better arguments.
What you're doing is exposing
from Vermont to DC.
You're exposing the shallowness of your own argument.
Anybody who takes any plane.
This is idiotic.
Is it idiotic? You just said he should walk from Vermont to DC. Obviously, you don't believe that.
Okay.
Obviously, you don't believe that. He's not a hypocrite for doing that. He believes in tens of millions of new jobs in the clean energy economy.
This is idiotic what you're saying because look, you will never
he should walk from Vermont to DC.
Or your leaders.
You just said he should walk from Vermont to DC. I asked if he should walk. You said yes. Come on, not a real argument.
You got me, Adam. You got me. You're a brilliant guy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're gonna we have pictures apparently on the screen. Kim Jong-un's train pulling in.
Cat got your tongue? Please stop putting me in my place. We've got to go to break. Kim Jong-un. Why are you suddenly trying to change the subject? You don't have anything else to say because you just made yourself look like an idiot, so you have to call your guest an idiot. This is idiotic what you're saying. Tucker, you just said that it's reasonable to expect Bernie Sanders to walk from Vermont to DC, and you expect us to take you seriously? I mean, nobody should take anything Tucker Carlson says seriously, especially if he is doing white supremacy propaganda all the time on his show, fear-mongering about immigrants. He's just a loathsome human being, but he really is revealing here that he's also not very bright. This argument that you can't care about climate change and wanting to stop climate change if you fly in airplanes is the new how is evolution real argument if we still got monkeys. That's the new argument. That's the level of stupidity. It's only clever to people who are not that bright to begin with. And what Tucker and other shills on Fox News need to realize is that individual decisions will not stop climate catastrophe, especially considering the fact that 100 corporations are responsible for 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So if you want to stop climate change, sure, you can do what you can on the individual level, but individuals can only do so much. If all of us collectively agree to reduce our carbon footprint as individuals, that'd be fantastic, but it's still not going to stop a climate catastrophe because you have to change the system. Tucker Carlson, he probably knows this, but again, on Fox News, the goal is to do propaganda on behalf of the Republican Party and the puppet masters who pull the Republican Party strings, their donors, oil and gas. So if you want to be considered reasonable in 2019 when it comes to climate change, you can't just outright deny climate change. You can't say, it's cold outside. Climate change? Question mark. You actually have to be a little bit more clever. But this is what they're resorting to because they have nothing left. They've been backed into a corner, and now all that they can do is say, you're a hypocrite because you're flying in airplanes. Sorry, that's not going to work, Tucker, because individual actions will not stop climate catastrophe. So I hope that Tucker Carlson is able to sleep well at night after doing nonstop propaganda for Republicans, after pushing white supremacist propaganda basically on a daily basis. This is someone who is egregious. He's a bad human being, and I'm so glad that he finally had someone on his show that put him in his place, because this is someone who is nothing more than a fucking fraud. And nobody should trust Tucker Carlson, nobody should watch Tucker Carlson, and most importantly, nobody should take anything he has to say seriously, because he may talk about economic populism, but understand that that's just a red herring. He may occasionally side with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when it comes to her wanting to take on Amazon. That's just a red herring, because once he pulls you in, then it's going to be a bait and switch. He's going to try to convince you and sell you republicanism, conservatism, and white supremacy. And we have to be especially hypersensitive about frauds like this, who present themselves as someone who is a serious actor when they're nothing more than a bad faith actor who wants to get you to think that what he's selling you isn't a load of shit. Everything he says is horseshit. Do not take him seriously, and do not trust Tucker Carlson.
Girly Mike Fettuccine needs your support on Patreon. What a loser. Visit patreon.com/Humanist Report to support the low ratings Humanist Report. Sad. My views are much higher.